And I think we do have a mute problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to redo that whole thing. Right, okay. Hopefully you guys can all hear me now. So yes, hello, welcome to this week's live Q&A session. And huge thank you for all of you for joining in. And yeah, this is a weekly Q&A that we do, and what we all patrons and YouTube channel members can put in questions through Patreon. They can also put them in through yep, thank you very much. Can you hear me now? You should all be able to hear me now, I hope. So with this one here, we have got okay, we do seem to have an issue with can you hear me now? Yes, you can hear me. Right, okay, that's good. We were getting some issues with the audio things. Yes, you can hear me. Yeah, so as I said, patrons and YouTube channel members have already put in their questions in advance time. There's a lot of Sony ones this week. We've also got a live chat going right now on YouTube. So we have got Joshua, we've got Joe, we've got Ben, we've got Tom, the random movie fan. Big hello to all of you. Thank you very much for joining me in. And as per usual, it wouldn't be a live stream without technical difficulties. And I also want to say a huge hello to NYCKPD for your super chat as well. That's huge. Thank you very much. So we've got lots of questions. So let's jump into it. As I said before, YouTube channel members and patrons do get access to early content a little bit earlier. But let's jump into this one. So the first question from Gavin was, with the US deal between Sony and Disney Plus, do you think there will be a similar deal with the UK, as Sky has signed a deal with Sony in the summer that could prevent this from happening? So there's a lot of questions here about like the UK. I also think Joe also put in a question as well about the same thing. So the Sony deal with Disney that was just announced earlier this week for the United States only will give them access to a whole host of different content. So what this will do is all movies from 2022 onwards till 2026, all big new cinema releases, will head off to sort of cinemas. Then they will go to premium on demand. Then they will go to Netflix for a while before they can go to Disney Plus or Hulu. And, it's up to Disney where they go. They're not all going necessarily to Disney Plus. That's the key thing. Not everything is going to be going to Disney Plus. So a lot of this stuff's going to be going to Hulu. So a lot of questions like, is this going to be happening everywhere else? Is this going to be taking place in the UK, etc. Now, I suspect that they are going to be working on some deals to go around this, and especially for the Spider-Man things. But it's a little bit more tricky in terms of how they do it. Every country is different. Everyone's got different deals. And Sky have got a deal with Sony, but it's only for Pay One, which is what Netflix have. So there could very easily be something coming up in the future. So as of yet, we know nothing about an international deal. And I think it's going to be a case-by-case basis. They're going to maybe look, can they do something? Is there different regions that they can do it in? There's some issues as well in different countries like Spain and Germany, which obviously can affect it. I think that this definitely is a possibility now. And I also think there's a possibility that you could also have issues with sort of maybe things down the line of more of these kind of deals. But yeah, I do think it could come to the UK. But it might be for a while, and it's also important to know, even in the US, things aren't going to be arriving straight away. Things are going to be taking a while to drop on. For example, the first movie, Morbius, which drops in cinemas in January, probably wouldn't hit Disney Plus in the US until maybe February, March 2024. So it's a long way away. So that was the first question there about the UK from Gavin. Connor asks, I noticed that the US and Canada have recently gained older Disney titles, in addition to Canada, New Zealand and Australia gaining a large amount of Star Library content. Do you think the European Union's 30% quota for local content is affecting the flow of Disney-owned content to the UK and mainland? Now, for some reason, there's a lot of content sometimes that doesn't arrive here in the UK at the same time it drops in the US. And, there's been... And I don't know why there's been such a delay. There doesn't seem to be any real reason for it. I don't think it's got anything to do with the European quota. I think it's got absolutely nothing to do with that. I think that is a side issue. And I don't know necessarily if they're holding things back. The amount of stuff they're dropping onto Star says to me that they're not. There just seems to be this kind of problem with the Disney Channel of how they want to release the content, how they want to get it out there. There still seems to be a little bit of push and pull of, essentially Disney Channel content internationally is pretty much a Disney Plus exclusive. And you'd think they would just have worked something out, but things seem to be very, very slow in getting contracts ready. Maybe there's a big announcement coming at some point in the future and they're just holding off, and so then they can do international, just roll out everywhere, gets the same episode. That's my kind of inkling, that maybe there's something going on in the future and they don't want to do anything new right now, and maybe as well upset the apple cart with what's going on. And so it's easier. We get them in dribs and drabs. It's not ideal. It's not great. But I don't think it has anything to do with European quotas. That's my honest opinion. I just don't see it. I can't see how that would help for that one. And I think it's gonna be a while before we get way up to that 30%. I think they're going to do a lot more. But the interesting thing that they could probably get around it, in the Netherlands, for example, they've recently been putting on loads and loads of European content. So they might be able to put more of it like in Netherlands and Germany than maybe in the UK. That could be one way they're doing it. They do seem to be like licensing content. Okay, last one from this page. So we've got Caleb asks, now that Sony and Disney have made the deal in the US to bring the Spider-Man films to Disney Plus, do you see Disney and Comcast making a similar deal for the Hulk films? Maybe Comcast can make a deal with Hulu to have Peacock as a premium add-on, as a benefit both sides, since Hulu can have more content. Right, two different things. Let's first off deal with, could Disney do a deal to get the Incredible Hulk as a non-exclusive movie? Yes, I think that could happen, without a doubt. Especially with it just being one or two movies, it might be like, can we just have a deal? Depends on what else they've got going on. If it's all one or two movies, you've got a better chance. But also, Disney have also got to look at it and go, do we really want this? Do we really want, how much is it worth to us? That's going to be the thing. As far as Hulu and Peacock, I think 2 years is a long time for them to work out what's going on with Hulu. I can't see Hulu and Peacock teaming up. Once kind of Disney get rid of Peacock and get rid of Comcast, I think they're going to kind of want to do whatever they want to do without any interference from Comcast. They've kind of had enough of that, I would imagine, at this point. Right, now let's jump into some of the live questions that we've got in here. We've got quite a few. So, Joe said that he watched Miss Peregrine's Home for Particular Children. I keep saying that one wrong. Last night, and it's amazing. It's such a good movie. I really enjoyed it. I should watch it again soon. I haven't watched that one for a while. And in general, then asked, what do you think of the list for the UK for Ireland? It's very packed. It's very, I wouldn't say it's as good as I wish we were getting some of the US content as well. There's a few things that I'm really looking forward to. MODOK, really looking forward to Rebel. I'm glad that we're finally getting Grownish season 3. I'm gonna be honest, I've binged both seasons in the last week, so I've been really enjoying that one. As far as like the movies and stuff, like Unbreakable Glass, probably wouldn't bother right now where we'll be checking them out. There's a few nice old movies dropping in there, some 1950s stuff that everywhere seems to be getting part of the star. It's a solid list. It's pretty well even out. There's so many different things on there. There's a number of great shows. Station 19, I've seen all 3 seasons already, so it's not really something I'd watch again, but it's just nice to have it on there. So I do think there's some real nice content, but I'm really looking forward to those Star originals. I'm just thinking now, like, I think like the 21st of May in the UK, we got Bad Batch, High School Musical, Big Shot, Mighty Ducks Game Changers. We're going to have MODOK. We're going to have Big Sky returning, and it's just, and then we're gonna have Grownish, and then the following week we're gonna start having Rebel dropping in there as well. It's so great having so much choice every weekend. I think Soul Opposite's probably coming to an end around that same time. Joe also says, could we see American Housewife on Disney Plus UK? I don't know why it's not on there. It's actually a Disney Plus Star original in Australia. I don't know why it's not available here in the UK. Let me just I've never seen it. It's one show I've not seen. It's something I've been kind of meaning to watch. Currently, it's not on any show anywhere, so it must be maybe on TV or something. Yeah, don't know why we haven't got that one there yet. Let's have a look here at some of the other live chat going on. Joe asks, any update on the Predator lawsuit? No, I haven't heard anything. I suspect it will go very, very quiet for now. Joe then said, when we will have Titanic on Disney Plus, so happy it's sunny this weekend in Ireland. So glad the beaches are back open. How was your weekend? Yeah, I spent the weekend working on the beach, and really windy. We got really bad easterly winds. It's been freezing down there. As far as Titanic goes, don't know where that one is. It's on Channel 4 or something like that. I'll be honest, with Titanic, it's one of those movies where what I tend to do is I whenever it comes on, it's on Sky, it's on Now TV. So let's just have a look, see when it's expiring on Now. So it doesn't expire in the UK until the end of November. So it's not going to be available here in the UK for quite a while yet. So Joshua then said, with the Sony Netflix Disney Plus deal, do you see a proliferation of similar deals, or do you think this is a one-off? I think Sony, there's only really maybe Sony that are in that position where they were kind of going out to get as much money as they possibly could. And with that, yeah, so Joshua just said American Housewife is on W. You know what? I never go anywhere near the W network. I never kind of go that far. So as far as, so I think there could be some, I think someone like Lionsgate could be in a situation where is Star's going to be able to continue the way it is? Are they going to kind of go the wayside? I think they could be one that could come up, but there's not a lot of studios left. I think some of the ones that are making stuff, they seem to have worked out that you can kind of sell your content really quite well now to other networks. So I do think there will be other deals, little deals. I think Disney could quite easily do bits and pieces like this, but ultimately they don't want too much licensed content. I kind of feel like with Sony there was a little bit of a deal for Marvel, but it also gives Hulu a bit of a boost as well, should they need it in the US. Okay, Joshua also asked, if Sony does manage to make a deal with Disney Netflix for their international library, do you think they will close down their linear channels? No, totally wouldn't expect so. Sony right now just seem to be going, no, we're going to make as much money from as many places as we possibly can. Joshua then asked, considering the amount of money Disney has paid Sony for their catalogue once Netflix has first dib, do you think by 2026 Spider-Man will be back with Marvel rather than re-upping the deal? Ooh, it's a long time away. There's a lot of things that could happen with Sony and stuff with them. I think Sony are very much aware that Spider-Man is their kind of cash cow, and they kind of going to want to keep him as long as they can. The random movie fan asks, why are Fox movies on the free streaming service in the US? 20th Century Fox made a number of deals years ago. Stars was nearly 9-10 years ago. And so they made some real long-term deals, and unfortunately the cost for Disney to get out of them looks to be too high, and they're just kind of waiting for them to expire. And I'm kind of thinking that might be one of the major reasons why Star can't work in the US yet, is because so much of the Fox content is tied up in contracts. They can't do a lot about it. So Joshua said, I just googled it, to be fair. Yeah, so did I. I just had a quick look and it wasn't showing up anywhere. So if we've got any more live questions, feel free to jump in. I'm going to jump in now to Patreon page number 2. So Streamer asks, what do you think will come first, Hawkeye or Miss Marvel? I think we will see Miss Marvel first and then Hawkeye. I think that was kind of how it was working out. Miss Marvel has, I think they're all both wrapping up around now, so I suspect it will be Miss Marvel first. Streamer says, when What If debuts, do you think it'll be weekly or will it come all at once as an anthology? Oh, that will be coming weekly. I can't see any other way, because Disney are going to want to stretch it out. The amount of merchandise that we've already seen. There's a number of Lego sets that have been kind of sort of leaked out onto Instagram and stuff lately. They are going all in on this series, and I think this is going to help tide over from Loki right through, I think, till Miss Marvel's probably, I would say, July and August. So I think that one's a while off. So Streamer asks, do you think Spider-Man No Way Home will count as a library content from the purposes of the Sony Netflix deal as it comes out? Yes, I do. That will come under the existing contract they've got, because they're just going to sneak it in that last week before it. Connor asks, when Indiana Jones 5 is released, do you see Disney and Paramount doing shared rights for the other 4 films, maybe for shared rights for MCU Phase 1? As those, I think it wouldn't at all surprise me if Paramount did a shared exclusive for those movies if the price was right, and I think that's ultimately what it is. In some ways, it would make sense for them to hold off until a little bit near the time, and I think having them, I could easily see them doing a deal. And also CBS are kind of Paramount and Viacom and all the rest of it. They are doing a lot more deals, so I wouldn't be at all surprised with that one. And finally, Lester asked, when Netflix able to get first dibs on any of Sony's release for the next 18 months, how will this affect the other streamers when it comes to licensed movies from other studios? It's just going to be one of those situations that we're going to get these like timed exclusives, and a lot of it I think is just down to trying to secure content. They're all trying to do it, but this is why they're all trying to go after their own content. They're trying to create their own. If they can create enough of their own content, they're not reliant on anybody else. Now there is still content to be grabbed, and they're all going to be having a bit of a bidding war every time something comes up to be able to grab it, and that's something that we're seeing a lot already. They're all trying to do it, but they're also very much aware that they need, they've got to keep building up their own content. Netflix is spending a fortune. Amazon, I mean, how much money they're spending on that Lord of the Rings show. Though they're in a slightly different position. They're all trying to build up their licensing of their own content. Licensing is, ultimately, it's not long term. It's not good. It's good short term, and it can help, but it's not going to run all the time. Okay, so Joshua just said Hawkeye is just wrapped. Yes, we saw a picture from him the other day saying that it's all finished up. And we've been seeing lots of images and stuff from Miss Marvel also today. Literally on the to-do list for this evening. They've also started work on She-Hulk. So Lewis asked, hello to you, if Disney was to create a Kingdom Hearts original show, would it be continuing from the Melody of Memories, or would it be non-canon? But then again, wouldn't be surprised if especially how they released the previous games all over the place in the past, it could be another problem to continue the story. Right, as far as Kingdom Hearts go, personally, new, fresh, brand new, start from the beginning, treat everyone like they have got no idea what Kingdom Hearts is. That's the best way that this series needs to be. Trying to use the lore of those video games would be a nightmare. I'm someone that has played Kingdom's Heart 1, 2, and 3. I've played 2.8. I've played Dream Drop Distance. I've played the 358 over 2 days. I've played some of the mobile games. So I am very much someone that has, I've sunk 100 plus 200 hours into Kingdom Hearts games. I couldn't tell you what happened in those. I love all the different worlds, but the story is so weird and crazy. So to me, with Kingdom Hearts, start from the scratch, simplify it, make it much more simple, make it much more simpler idea, make it so it's doable. Just streamline it. The whole way that they did it with the video games, they're way too complicated. And you've got to assume that no one knows what the Final Fantasy games and stuff are, because it's kind of interconnected, but it's not interconnected. And as someone that I've played through a number of the Kingdom Hearts, the Final Fantasy games as well, and they're all bonkers. I love the play style. I love what they do, but for me, the best way for that TV series would be fresh and brand new, like you have no idea, and use that as a jumping point to essentially get more people into the Kingdom Hearts franchise. Okay, let's jump now into some YouTube questions. So John Patrick Van Belt asked, I saw the announcement for Sony and Disney. When will the Muppets Take Manhattan be coming to Disney Plus in the US? Because it's one of my favourite films growing up. And the last film Jim Henson did as the voice of Kermit the Frog. No dates or anything has been really announced. All we know is that some movies will be coming to Hulu as soon as June, but they have not announced anything else. We don't know when this is going to kick in. I think in the US right now, I think the Muppets are on Amazon, so it depends when they expire or if they are not exclusive. So we have no dates for when that one is going to be coming in. Mick asks, will the Sony movies come to Disney Plus Star and TV shows like Married with Children if there's still talks about Right, so as far as international goes, there's two things. We've got the Sony deal did not include TV, so that's just straight up. It's just movies, and the international side they've not announced anything. It might not even happen. It might have just, but I suspect there's something going on at some point, but they maybe can't announce things just yet. The US deal had to kind of, in some way, the US deal had to come first, because if it got announced, I don't know, say like the UK did it, we've already got Star, there's a lot of it. So the US had to kind of come first, and it's the biggest market. Okay. So the random movie fan asks, will the Disney Plus team with another studio like Disney Plus has in other countries, such as USA with Sony Pictures, Spain with Universal Pictures, and the Netherlands with Warner Brothers? I don't know if they could do right now, because I don't really think there's that many, as far as Viacom and Paramount are trying to boost up Channel 5, so they maybe wouldn't want to do anything there. You've then got HBO Max has already kind of signed up with Sony, with Warner Brothers, and all the rest of it. But Universal, they're built in with Sky, so I don't think any of the big studios, the only ones really are like Sony, so, and like maybe Lionsgate, but they've got Stars Play, so everyone's kind of got their own little thing. So I don't really think it's going to happen too much, but much more of a possibility in some countries where they haven't got those streaming platforms, maybe. Okay, and the final one from our pre-ones was, could any Marvel animes come to Disney Plus of the Sony deal? I think a lot of the Marvel anime, they've all been kind of made by different ones. I think it depends on who owns the distribution rights with those anime. More great content would be great. So there we go. That was all the pre-done ones. Let's jump back now into the live chat. So Joshua asks, do you think that Disney will look to announce at their Q2 earnings? So we're going to have that one, I think, coming up in another week or two. I think we're going to get confirmation of some more of the international rollout. Maybe like Eastern Europe, Korea, also like Japan, Hong Kong. Just a bit more of that. I think, there's a load of countries they still have to announce in. I think we'll get a lot more information about the launch of Star Plus down in Latin America. I think now, like going into this second quarter, I feel like Disney's in a little bit of a better position than they were at the last quarter results, because Disneyland is like reopening up like next week in the US. Disney World has been able to have more people in there. Disneyland Paris, I don't think we've got a date yet for when that's opening. The Disney cruise lines aren't fully going back up and running, but we're going to be having some like UK cruises going around in the summer. The cinemas are starting to reopen a little bit. There's a little bit more leeway. There's a little bit more. There's more good news now, and so I think Disney are going to need to have some good news. I think some international rollouts will be definitely a way of boosting Disney Plus. The thing is with these ones is, they're going to want to be putting out there that, the recovery is in place. We're going to have, whether or not they announce other moves like, I don't know, maybe like Jungle Cruise or something like that, whether they do Premier Access. I'm kind of thinking they might wait and see how things are going. Maybe see how Cruella does at Premier Access and at the box office, because that one's going to be the first big release for a while. And then, yeah, those are the kind of ones. I think some international. I can't imagine, too much more than that. So I kind of always, you've got to go in with these quarterly results. I always go in with what makes sense from a business point of view. What would you want as a shareholder? You want profits, you want, dividends, you want things to be going up. And it's not where they usually announce shows. They sometimes do a little announcement before it, but I think some international announcements will be what they do. Okay, so we've kind of got to the point where now we've sort of gone through a number of the questions. It was one of those things of this week was so much of the Sony stuff, as per usual. Usually, we then tend to see like trends of what's going on. So that's always good. So if you've got any more live questions, what we'll do is we'll kind of give it another 5 minutes for you guys if you've got any questions. So if you are watching live or super chats or anything like that, feel free to jump in. But like I said, usually with Patreon, how this works every week is, I will put a post up in the into the community tab inside of YouTube, and then I'll also do the same thing in Patreon with the questions, so you get them in. And so I always do like having questions in advance, because it kind of makes life a lot easier. I can do a little bit of research as well beforehand, and just make sure then, even if I always have that weird feeling of like, well, what if no one turned up for the live show? So it's like I always like to be a little bit prepared for that one. So that's always cool. This past week I have been doing a little bit of a trial, and I've been doing it on and off all year, really, of doing longer videos each day, but just like less of the smaller ones. And this week it seems to have worked really well. I'm going to be continuing to do that for a while, kind of build that into my like routine. On one hand it's good, on the one hand it's not so good for like, but for me personally it seems to be working better in terms of focus. If you do like the daily kind of the one video, if you're watching it, it's going to be one of those things where like you might want to check out daily, because there'll be different stories that maybe aren't in the thumbnail. There's only so many you can put in. But if you are enjoying that sort of the longer daily videos, there'll still be trailers and a few bits and pieces and reviews and stuff, but I'm trying just to kind of put it in there. So there we go. So Joshua asked, what would you like to happen in Captain America 4? So my theory for Captain America 4 is it's going to be like Captain America 4 Thunderbolts, or Captain America 4 Dark Avengers, where we see the group come together for the first time. Maybe we see then like Zemo, Walker, Yelena, and maybe a few other ones in there as well. So I definitely think that's my personal opinion. Do kind of like, everyone has their own series, and then kind of you bring them all together at the end to kind of have that big epic thing. I think, I'll be honest, I was for sure thinking, I'm just, oh, hello Johnny, don't worry about being late, missed last week's edition, but here now. Don't worry, if you've got any questions, feel free to throw them in now, before we wrap it up. I think I was for sure, I thought that when we got to the end of the episode, it was going to be like Captain America and the Winter Soldier returning in 2023. I thought they were going to announce a brand new series for Disney Plus. I was not expecting Captain America 4 movie. I thought for sure they were going to go for a series. I thought that was how they were going to do it. So I was quite and like all this talk about second seasons. Well, they don't need to do a second season. It's a movie. But yeah. So Lewis asks, could Disney Plus add live TV such as Disney Channel, kind of like they used to do with Paramount Plus with CBS? Okay, so before Disney Plus existed, we actually here in the UK had Disney Life, which was a streaming service, and it was very poor compared to Disney Plus. We didn't have any original content. Everything took like 2 to 3 years to arrive. But we did have live streaming of Disney Channel and things. Internationally, no point. There is no Disney Channel anymore. They've kind of gone. There's no point in having them. In the US, kind of Disney Channel and all the rest of it, they're just falling away to the wayside. It's just not what people are watching anymore. So that will be kind of something I can't. Yeah, I don't think they'll ever go back to. They've tried it. They've got it on Hulu, obviously. I just don't think they will do it. So Mick asks, would you start doing live streams for Loki as a group? So as far as, this is something that is on my kind of idea of something to do with doing like live streams of like watch-alongs and stuff like that. It's something I've seen people do. I definitely can't do it with Loki. I'll be completely honest with that one with regards to timing with real life for that one there. But in the fall, I am going to do some experiments with that, see how that works. My problem is, I'm going to be totally honest. I know like with like Falcon and Mandalorian and WandaVision, I kind of quite like that feeling in the morning of watching it with no distractions, the phone off on the side, and just being able to watch it and enjoy it. Right, and I'm kind of worried about like if I was doing it live chat, am I going to miss stuff? Am I going to have to watch? So I am going to do some experiments with it. To do some watch-alongs and stuff. When we start doing it, I will announce it in advance, but it would be probably to begin with, just for like YouTube channel members and stuff, just to kind of practice a little bit and kind of get into it. So I have got it on a plan to do, but it won't be happening anytime this summer due to commitments. But there is something that I am going to be looking into. But yeah, I know a couple of people do the live watch-alongs. I don't know if it works with a live watch-along as well, with it being like 3 o'clock in the morning US time. That's a bit tricky. Whether or not we do something later in the day and like a spoiler cast and kind of people can watch it through, or do it with a movie, or I'm kind of looking at all kinds of different options, in kind of at the end of the summer, and kind of look to and get your feedback as well. So there's a lot of things I'm thinking about doing after the summer's over, and kind of getting some feedback with you guys on where to move with that kind of thing. But yeah, there is some ideas. Josh asked, do you think this will start a new movie? Do you think this will be one movie or start of a new trilogy? As far as the Captain America one, I hope a trilogy. I'd love it to be. I love him to kind of have a bit longer at the time. I think it makes a lot of sense. I like the character, but it's gonna, if it doesn't do very well at the box office, then maybe not. But I would like them to do so. In some ways, Captain America on the big screen makes a lot more sense than being a Disney Plus series, but I kind of quite like it as a Disney Plus series. So Sarah's given a thumbs up, so that's good. Yep. So like I said, we're going to be having some discussions at the end of the summer about some ideas. And then Joe asks, any update on Golden Girls coming to Disney Plus UK? Unfortunately, what they said back in February at the event was it was coming this summer, and obviously we've not even hit summer yet. So it could be June, July, August. Yeah, so we've got 3 months. So yeah, so if you're watching that one, that one's good. I've just started watching Blackish. After watching Grownish, I've just started going through that one. So Johnny T asks, with Disney Plus UK getting more ESPN documentaries next month, do you think that Disney will do more sports originals? There are documentaries in the future. Yeah, they're adding like 10 ESPN 30 for 30 documentaries. It makes sense to utilize the ESPN content for Europe if they can do it. I mean, they have got the ESPN network, so they can kind of put things there. It makes a lot of sense. I still haven't got around to watching that Ric Flair ESPN one. That's the one I want to watch. As far as the other ones, I will be honest, I have zero interest. That's just, I've said it many times. I'm not a sports person, but I do like my wrestling. I do think it makes sense for them to utilize that ESPN. It's kind of weird in some ways of, do they want to get into sports, but do they want to boost up ESPN? But I also think it's a good way of boosting up the brand here in the UK. But it makes total sense to put it on there. So Martin says, do you use Discord? Yes, I do use it. Me and James have been using Discord as our main form of communication for years. But that's kind of I have thought about sort of setting up a Discord, called sort of server for us, for the channel and for the website and stuff. We have a Facebook group, but at the it is on the I've got a whole notepad, and there's a whole page of future ideas and bits and pieces, and Discord is on there, especially as well with maybe like adding in Patreon and YouTube channel members and kind of having an area inside there for chatting as well. So it is on the idea of things to do. But yeah, so I do use Discord. Does anybody else use Discord? I'd love to know if you guys are using it. So Joe asks, I've been watching Revenge, Grownish, Blackish, can't wait for season 3. I've just finished Grownish season 2, I think yesterday morning. And I've ploughed through about half of season 1 of Blackish. I think I'm kind of in that weird thing. I started wrong. I started with Grownish and then went backwards. I'm really enjoying it. I mean, I wouldn't have gone through like 30 episodes in the last week if I didn't enjoy it. Revenge is fantastic. I wouldn't want to watch it again because those kind of shows you wouldn't do it. But yeah, so I kind of felt like with Grownish with the third season, I kind of wanted to get ready for it. But that's good. So Lewis says he also uses Discord. Lewis said, have you ever thought of adding a side channel that would include other content, such as adding gaming content for games like WWE 2022 releases? Well, actually, fun thing is, I do have another YouTube channel, Diz Kingdom, and we used to do a load of video games and stuff over there. And we used to do theme parks, pop vinyls, all kinds of Disney stuff, and we kind of became more of video games, Disney video games. But with the What's on Disney Plus getting more busier, I decided to focus on that on there. I do keep thinking of doing I kind of do keep thinking of kind of redoing more gaming stuff. I've got all the equipment and stuff, but it's just timing. I do enjoy playing it, but I've kind of got into this thing with video games where I like doing in the evening and just chilling out. I'm currently, I don't know why I restarted Grand Theft Auto 5 because it dropped onto Xbox Game Pass, so I kind of restarted that one. As far as WWE, I would like to do WWE. I mean, I've had pretty much every single WWE game, but I think starting from scratch, I'm kind of, in all honesty, trying to focus everything because it's so hard. It's, you know, it takes so much time, and I have tried running two channels at once, and it is very tricky. And in some ways, I'm really enjoying the idea now of like video games is kind of like is a way of me relaxing, so I don't have to think about it. Sarah says that she uses Discord, and it's not easy having a chat. But yeah, Patreon's not as easy. Obviously, we have this one here, but yeah, it might be something that we look into setting that up and getting going on. If it seems quite a few of you are using Discord, that might be a cool way of getting some discussion going, and maybe kind of we start with a small group and kind of expand a little bit as we go along. But yeah, so that's cool. Right, okay, so we're going to do 4 more minutes, and then we're going to cut off for the day. Again, huge thank you to everyone for joining in on this live chat. Sorry for the issues at the beginning with the things, where I accidentally realised that I'd actually pressed mute on the... This microphone is so sensitive on the top. I'm still kind of getting used to it. But yeah, so that's cool. Again, if you are a Patreon and YouTube channel member, I really do appreciate it. That's why we do have the live chat, so we can have all of that going on. So, like I said, if you've got any more questions, feel free to put it in. Yeah, I think Patreon also would probably be a little bit easier as well for doing like adding in the live chat going on with YouTube, but we'll have to have a look into it. But yeah, so it's always nice to know. But let me know in the comments below if you are watching, and also if you have been. I would like also some feedback on if you have been enjoying the retro reviews that I put up every Sunday. I'll be honest, we have actually filmed and recorded probably the next 2 months worth of movies. We've got lots of them coming out. We've got like Turner and Hooch, we've got Monsters Inc., we've got a load of Loki, all the 4 movies. So we kind of did all of them a little bit in advance, but just let me know if you are enjoying them, and if that's something that we want to continue with after the summer. So I'm going to be putting that into some feedback as well for YouTube channel members and as a whole. As every now and again, I think you've got to sit there, and so for me, I'm looking at the beginning, at the end of the summer, kind of looking at some of the things we're doing and working out, you know, what people enjoy, what people are maybe would like to do something else. Johnny T said, will any of the music story plus originals land on Disney Plus here in the UK? I don't know why they haven't been arriving already. I don't get it. Maybe they don't want it over here yet because of they've got to put different dubbing in for Europe. Maybe that's why, and they don't. But I don't know why they don't put it on here. I mean, I would have been interested in watching them. And Joe asked, are you excited for the West Side Story trailer? Yeah, it's going to be dropping during the Oscars, so we'll see it in the morning. They've already dropped the poster. So that's been an interesting thing for... I'll be honest, I've got no... it's kind of... I've got nothing on this one. I've got no expectations. I've never seen the original movie or show, so I've got literally no preconceived notions of it. I'm going to watch the trailer and see how I get on. I do like musicals, but I'm coming in completely blind, so it's probably I don't quite like it. So Johnny said, I like the retro movie reviews. Some of the movies are quite interesting that you choose to talk about. Yeah, this is the thing. The thing with the movie story plus would love to have James to answer questions and yourself take turns twice a week. The thing is, obviously, with James has said about kind of jumping in and doing these occasionally. Again, it all comes down to timing because he's, he helps out with the podcast. But obviously, it's timing from his part because he does have a full-time job doing his thing. So we have said about getting him on. I have got some other software that I'm going to want to be trying out at the end of the summer. Unfortunately, like I said, this summer's a little bit of a tricky one with real life. Once all the summer's over, we'll be doing bits and pieces. But yeah, the retro reviews are kind of one of those things I actually quite enjoy doing. And so once the summer's over, we'll be getting you guys much more involved in what we're going to be watching, trying to do more the stuff that gets added, and kind of give it a bit of a a revamp a little bit, but that's kind of, I do enjoy kind of what going back and watching some of this classic stuff. But again, we'll just want to watch it as. So Joe says, do you watch more TV or movies on Disney Plus? I'll be honest, since Star dropped, I've watched a lot more. Star has really made a massive difference to how much stuff I'm watching on Disney Plus. It's made a huge difference to what we do, and also we have a lot of shows that like Station 19 and Greys that would be on Disney Plus in Australia, but I'm watching those as well. So I definitely feel like with the addition of Star, I am watching a lot more. Lewis asks, have you thought about doing a video on Pixar theory and how everything in Pixar is connected through a movie? See, this is the kind of those kind of things of kind of doing the Easter eggs and the deep dives and stuff. That's a lot of, pulling in research and all the rest of it, and it's kind of one of those things of like, I have looked at it and I've looked at doing articles and stuff on it, but I don't know if I watched Pixar movies within. I've been going through and kind of picking everything out, and finding out what other people have picked and stuff. Because people do it with the Marvel ones. Like the second the episode ends, they do like, 22 Easter eggs from and like I didn't notice a single one of them. It's completely. So I don't think I'm observant enough to see those little Easter eggs and stuff. But yeah, I've got lots of different ideas and stuff of things to look at. But primarily at the minute, I've just been like focusing on like movies or reviews and news and stuff. Right, on that note, guys, thank you very much. We've got a last question coming in from Johnny. Do you think that Angel Show that's been getting to Disney Plus will be in HD like Buffy or in its original aspect ratio? Well, I'd hope it'd be in whenever the best quality they've got. But if Buffy's not in high, and it's a little bit newer than Buffy, so that might help it. I hope it's in HD. I mean, why they isn't? I think that would be like standard. I don't know why they wouldn't do that, but anyway. So again, thank you to everyone in on the live chat. Thank you very much for all of your help. Thank you very much for the super chats. Thank you very much for all of your support. Really makes a massive difference. I'd love to know. As I said, I'm going to be constantly like trying to kind of speak to you guys as well, because it all makes a massive difference. And also to everybody as well, watching the replay and stuff. Feel free to drop in with your ideas of if you're watching stuff, whatever. I'd like to hear from you guys as well. But on that note, guys, thank you very much for joining us. We will see you guys next week with another live Q&A at the same time. And I shall see you guys soon. Laters.